Nash. She is absolutely fantastic, one of my newest sponsors, and she is an up-and-coming country music sensation. You just got to love her voice. But she is at Archie's Sea Breeze, 401 South Ocean Drive in Fort Pierce. You know Archie's. Everybody knows Archie's. No shoes, no shirt, no problem. That's Archie's. So I hope you can head out there. She's out there Saturdays and Fridays from 5 to 8 and Sundays from 2 to 5. Also, if you're a boater and looking for safe harbor during hurricane season, a top-notch boat yard to keep your vessel in tip-top shape, look no further than Indiantown Marina. Indiantown Marina is not just your average boat storage facility. Nestled in South Florida along the Okeechobee Waterway, they're a well-protected hurricane hull that savvy cruisers love to call home. They offer a full array of boatyard services, or they're do-it-yourself. If you have a boat, there's always work to be done. And you can reserve your safe hurricane harborage today by calling Indiantown Marina at 772-597-2455 or visit indiantownmarina.com. One thing I want to point out with Indiantown Marina is that they will charge you, and boat yards will charge you by the foot. They're going to charge you by the manufacturer's stated length overall. A lot of these boat yards will kind of be a little sneaky, and they measure your boat, and if there's anything extra, cooler or swim deck, something like that adds to the length, they add that onto the price. So Indiantown Marina, it's something to kind of watch out for. They will charge you exactly what the manufacturer says the boat length is. So they're not going to add anything on to that. And in the studio today, I have a Meet Your Candidate series, and candidates are really something that I love to be able to let them share their platform with all of you so we get to know them better. So I appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions for Sean Reed, he's my candidate today. He's running for City of Stuart Commission, Group 4. If you have any questions, I'm watching my Facebook live feed and would be happy to share those with Sean. Sean is one of four children, and Sean was born and raised in Martin County, growing up in Jensen Beach. Sean is one of 4 children, which I already said. I have a lot going on here today. Right, Sean?
Yes.
I'll tell you, it's a lot going on, but this is a great bio, so I'm going to get through this without saying, again, you're one of 4 children. But today, Sean is a local business owner, and he runs a preschool. It's a family-run enterprise that has been the focus of his professional life for the past 17 years. Sean's life has always been to help others. Sean lives in the city of Stuart and cares about the environment here. Sean comes from a big family and is very passionate about helping the next generation. Sean enjoys cooking, trying new foods, and frequenting different restaurants downtown. Okay, Sean, let's start there. The restaurants, they're the best in Stuart. So
Absolutely. I love going downtown Stuart. I love cooking myself. We have a lot of great restaurants. The biggest issue is parking for them, though, and trying to enjoy them.
It certainly is. We hear a lot about parking, a lot about traffic these days. So, Sean, why have you chosen to throw your hat in the ring? Becoming a political candidate, you put a lot out there. Your family all of a sudden becomes out in the public as well, and it's a lot. And I have a lot of respect for anybody that does file to run for office because of everything that brings with it. So.
Absolutely, and it is a big deal because we are, private business and stuff, and putting my face out there to represent the voters takes a lot, to be in front of everybody, to be in front of the spotlight. But I believe when the city is approving projects like we've seen over the last several years, and I haven't really seen a candidate that's, willing to step up, so I've gotten involved. And we need people that are going to represent the voters that are willing to say no to developers. And that's one of the biggest issues that I see happen when these projects come before. And I don't think they're thinking about our quality of life when they approve them, because the traffic has been insane and they keep approving stuff. And I did bring this as well. This is coming into our entrance to downtown Stuart. I didn't think it was necessary, and I didn't think it fit the city of Stuart and the charm that we're trying to preserve. And I think that's why so many people choose to live here. They want to keep the quality of it.
This is a hotel going in off Colorado Avenue by the circle, right?
Correct, yes, with off-site parking and a parking garage that's shared. And, we had a 4-1 commission vote yes on this.
And that is interesting. Let's talk about the parking a little bit more, because it's something that I've kind of followed on the peripheral a little bit, and I thought, how does that work? Because that's always, for developers, that's always the nemesis, is making sure there's enough parking, but here they were able to use a garage.
Correct. That's off-site, and it's one of those things, just because you can does not mean you should. I don't think it fit the area. It's the first 4-story going right there on Colorado. It's a 101-room hotel. We don't have this. They're on US 1 typically, and I just didn't think it fit the city of Stuart. And I believe most residents felt that way, at least if you follow social media.
For sure. If you follow social media, there's a lot going on there. And speaking of social media, you do have a Facebook page for people to follow you and get some information about you.
Correct, yes. So the Facebook that we created, it's facebook.com/Read for Stuart.
So a good place to find out a little bit more about Sean. And also, if you support Sean, folks, all these campaigns, they run on money. They need money for websites, yard signs, you name it. So all these things, it's a time for the community to come together and back your candidate, whoever that is. And Sean, they certainly can reach you on your Facebook page. And you've just gotten that going here in the last couple months. And you're starting to get active with the Facebook page. I think you're the first candidate to file in the city of Stuart this year. So congratulations.
Yes. So last September, I did file with the city clerk to official file as a candidate. I just made the Facebook last year. It was inactive. So this just started, I believe, 2 to 3 weeks ago. I officially announced it on my Facebook page just to throw it out there. I figured start early to gain the momentum and get the name out there, because I'd imagine most people are wondering who this guy is. And that's probably a big question.
Now, folks, if you're following the City of Stuart races, we just had Vicki Davis here, Supervisor of Elections, and we know that those are going to be in August. So the election for the city will be in August. That's going to be coming up sooner than you can imagine, and time really flies as a candidate. I want to go back to the hotel here in the photo that you have. I think one of the other issues I hear just on the chatter on social media is the fact that it's a name brand, a flagged hotel, as opposed to something that many of the stores are just their mom and pop names. They're not flagged stores.
Yes, that's always been a big issue in the city of Stuart. That's like approving a car. Imagine if they put a car wash here. We have plenty of car washes. When you come to the city of Stuart, most of them are small, locally owned businesses, family ran typically, and this just did not fit the city of Stuart. It's a true Hilton. We didn't want that in the city. We're unique, and we have a charm to protect. And like I said, I don't think the residents wanted it, and it still got pushed through because the developer was a nice guy.
So tell us a little bit more about you, Sean, and some of the other votes that really kind of raised awareness to you that you said, I need to step in and run for office.
I mean, there's other projects. I have a list. There's been 2,250 apartments that have been approved in the city of Stuart over the last several years as well, and that's adding to the density. And I don't believe the residents want that anymore, and I believe they were trying to combat it with affordable housing, but all it did was increase traffic.
So another issue that you'll need to face as a commissioner, of course, is the Live Local Act.
Yes.
That's taken away a local control from our cities and our county commission. So if a parcel is zoned commercial, they can put a multifamily, there's some requirements, but they basically can build a multifamily residence there. Those are going to be a little bit tough to deal with. And how would you handle that as a commission coming in? Because as a commissioner, you may not want to add more multifamily units, but you may not have a choice.
Correct. I mean, I think at the city at this point, most of it is already developed, most of the parcels. There's really not much. I'd imagine we're going to see more redevelopment on properties. And I don't believe anyone has come forward with the Live Local Act yet to try to go for it in the commission.
So moving forward, what is your vision for the city?
Well, hopefully we can stop approving things for friends, because like I said, it seems like the developers get what they want. They come in front of the board. Most of them are very good friends around the city, whether it's a business relationship or you've went to school with somebody. We see these projects and they just get pushed through like it's nothing. It's so nonchalant. And it's not just one person in particular. I think it's getting more people on there that will give the residents what they want. And I don't think it's happened over the last several years. And it's not just one commissioner in particular. It has nothing to do with the person I'm running against, if they even decide to run. It's a bigger picture, I believe, to get more people involved and inspire someone to get involved. That's what we're going for.
That is good, and it's so important for the community and for people to get involved. And so, again, congratulations on you running for office and becoming a candidate, because that's what needs to be done. A couple elections ago, it was surprising nobody ran against the incumbents. It was during COVID, but it was pretty much business as usual. It was a little surprising nobody did run. So we need folks like you to step up. Now, certainly there are some other issues that you are passionate about within the city of Stuart. You grew up here. You love this area. What other issues are you going to focus on if you're elected?
I would say the biggest thing is protecting the quality of life at this point. I think that's huge for everybody. And when we see the stuff get pushed through and approved, it affects the quality of life. I was in downtown Stuart last night, and it's like a real city at this point. People are just honking horns, beeping. You're seeing the cars just fly by. A lot's changed, obviously, since most of us has grown up around here, and you can't really be against development, right? You have property rights as an owner, but what's being done is just too much, too soon, and too fast. And I don't think they're looking at even traffic studies, because you're not required to use traffic studies for projects that aren't CO'd yet, even though the commission should look at it. We can look at the Costco project. That's not online yet. But all of that traffic's coming, and it's going to be here before you know it. And it's going to be a gridlock in the city of Stuart. What used to take 5 minutes for travel is probably 20 minutes now. And we have residents that live in Palm City that won't come to downtown Stuart, and vice versa for Jensen. They're not coming here anymore. It's tourists at this point, not locals that are dining out.
The traffic is crazy, and even during the summer now, it used to, you could tell season. We always called it season, and now the traffic is just as heavy during the summer year round. So it's a big difference. One of the issues that we have to face here in Stuart is, of course, the growth in Port St. Lucie and St. Lucie County coming through on one as well, and that's something you can't control, but my goodness, it really impacts our traffic as well. So it's just one of those issues that, again, as a commissioner, you can't control what happens in another county.
Absolutely, and I think that's why the Martin County in particular is doing what they're doing by Citrus and 714 to just get the traffic out of here as fast as possible.
James Carroll, I appreciate you tuning in. He says, what are Sean's thoughts on the taxpayer-funded Business Development Board, and does he believe it actually accomplishes its stated goal of championing business in Martin County?
I mean, obviously, their goal is to get businesses to move here, right? That is their goal. We would like to see more local businesses. I think as far as the Martin County Business Development Board, you're going to see larger retailers and stuff coming in. We just don't want it in downtown Stuart like the True Hilton.
What do you think about municipality-owned land and renting as opposed to private ownership?
Well, I think it is difficult when you see city-owned getting involved with business. We have projects that don't turn a profit. We can look at the water park, for example. I don't believe they turn a profit for the county. Yes, they provide a service and the residents love and use it, but they're not turning a profit. And it does make it difficult for taxpayers, especially when that's how it's funded.
And what do you think about the city, the building, the commission building, moving, and what would you do with that property if it does get moved?
I mean, me personally, what I would do, I'm not 100% sure. I think it comes down to the residents. I've heard people say turn it into a park if it does relocate to the Wells Fargo building completely. I have heard that from a couple residents. I think it might have been in the master plan as well. I believe presented as a park connecting to the Riverwalk stage and everything. That's what I've seen come forward so far.
I've heard that. Very nice. Amy Pritchett, I appreciate you tuning in. Amy is one of our school board members on the Martin County School District. Amy has a question for you. Do you believe the comp plan is being followed?
Absolutely not. If we're talking county in particular, we had a commissioner that's currently up there that campaigned against the Rural Lifestyle Amendment and became the swing vote on that. So I think that says enough. And I think people should talk more about legacies around here, because I wouldn't want that if I was a commissioner.
And again, you grew up here. You've seen a lot of changes. Besides the growth in the traffic, what other changes have you seen?
Quality of life, it's huge. People aren't happy, I can tell you that. If you actually talk to the residents here and you look at social media, there's a lot of angry people out there. And I think people have almost given up, because I hear a lot of, what's the point? Why continue? And I did have a resident come up to me, and he's always pushed me to say, there's something still worth fighting for, and I believe there's still something worth fighting for at this point, just to save what little we can.
And another thing that we're fighting for, and is certainly being part of the city of Stuart, it's one of your main focuses, and that would be the water issues and St. Lucie River and Lake Okeechobee discharges. What would you do to help with those issues? Like, the city's trying to do what it can. We're one little cog in the wheel.
As far as the whole water quality issue, it still amazes me that I've heard partisan blame before. I mean, both parties should be coming together and fix it at this point. When you talk to people going back, even my own family, I can talk to my family, they used to fish at the Roosevelt Bridge, and you could see straight to the bottom and actually see snook and fish. Look what's happened over the last, I would say, 30, 40 years with the water quality. it's amazing that it's not fixed from a state and federal level. And we've gotten little bits and pieces throughout the years, but it's not enough. And we can't even fish. We can't enjoy the waterways. When you see something get posted about bacteria, it just blows my mind, because we shouldn't see this stuff at all happening. And it's still happening, and nobody has fixed it.
James has another question. Now, the city of Stuart does have term limits, but he would like to know if there were no term limits, are you a person that believes in term limits?
I do believe in term limits. Even if I get 4 years here, at least I can say I did 4 years and I represented the residents. But yes, there should be term limits, because it's one of those things. We want locals that can get an opportunity to serve the residents, not be a lifelong politician, because that's the last thing that I am at the end of the day. I'm the furthest thing from a politician. I'm just a local business owner trying to stand up for the residents at this point, and hopefully we can get change and inspire others to get involved.
So historically, Costco, that was a really big issue here in the city of Stuart. Where would have you voted on that project?
Oh, well, I believe Costco should have been out west. I think Canner is already a big traffic jam. Everybody knows that drives around here. You go north on US 1 from Canner, you're going to sit there for 3 or 4 lights. You're probably going to get honked at 5 times, and I would imagine cut off. And people are angry. They're running red lights left and right. But Costco should have been out west, in my opinion. It's a project that you're going to drive to, right? So imagine all these people coming to Costco. They're coming off 95, right?
Yes.
They're just going to all fill in here even more, and they're just going to leave. It should have been by 95, easier access, in my opinion.
I think a lot of people wanted it there. Of course, the county commission, it just didn't work out. So then they, of course, we all know, they ended up here in the city of Stuart. So if I understand correctly, you support Costco, but not in the city.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a small business owner myself. Yes, Costco is not small, but they do bring a lot of quality jobs to the area, right? And we do want that. You cannot be against growth, but the area that it was located at, I don't think it was good. Good location.
What about all the annexing that the city of Stuart does for property into the city?
So the reason I believe that they do that, the developers, obviously, is for density, right? You look at the county code, it's totally different from the city. So they're going to put as much as they can as a business owner to, get as much return on their investment as possible. I've heard that there's no way to stop it. Don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've been told from city and county leaders and commissioners.
So it's just one of those issues you'll have to deal with as you're elected and you sit on the commission. What about, I'm going to pick out another issue in the past, and that was the storage building that went on in US 1, not far from the station here.
Is that the one on the Palm City Cutoff Road?
Yes.
So that one, I believe, that one was straight it met zoning, I believe. And I believe it was either that or a gas station, and a gas station would have been more density and more traffic. When you have a storage unit like that, even though I don't personally think it should have been there, and I'd imagine most residents agree, but you have to look at density then at that point. There's not as many cars coming and going from a storage unit compared to a gas station. You'd have more loitering. It's open 24/7, especially if it was a Wawa. So you have to pick and choose your battles when you are representing the residents. And I think just being more forthcoming with people, they have to understand some of these projects don't even make it to the commission to even vote on it. Take, for example, the hotel at the old ACOC, the Marriott, I believe that's going in
Right,
there.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah,
That's
that didn't even have to come before the commission, and people are upset about that, but they do have to be informed and understand it was going in there no matter what, because they didn't have to come before the board and ask for permission.
So there you go. That's why it's so important to really get to know the candidates and find out who is researching what's going on behind these projects, and understanding why sometimes even if you oppose a project, it has to be approved as a yes because it meets zoning regulations. I think as a commissioner, one of the areas where you're able to control things is if the county or the developer needs an exception.
Correct, and that's where you can put stipulations on it and stuff, or you could be a strong no vote, and we haven't seen that. I don't think I've ever seen that in my entire life from this city or county commission, unless we go back, obviously, 10, 15, 20 years ago. Especially with Maggie and stuff being involved, we had stronger no's around here.
So besides restaurants, what's some other things that you really love about Stuart?
Well, I love boating and fishing. I love doing that when we can get nice weather. Obviously not in the river. I don't think I've fished in the river in probably 10, 12 years,
Yeah.
let alone eat a fish from the river. It's not something I would personally do.
Unfortunately, that's true. I've done shows on that, and there's so many contaminants that are even within the fish. It's an unfortunate circumstance for us here, and such a
Yes.
beautiful place. It truly is. Sean, I want to get to know you a little bit better. Talk about your family a little bit. Are they really gung ho about you running for office, or like, Sean?
So it's kind of funny. I actually asked my family for permission in order to even do this. I needed to get their blessing because it is a big deal. And my goal is to separate my business from my candidacy run out of respect to them, because I am not the only one that is a owner or involved with the schools. I am a preschool business owner in the city. That's what my family and I do. So like I said, I had to get the blessing from my sisters and my mom and my brother, and they said go for it. They said, you've always been the one that stands up for what's right. Even if it's difficult, even if you upset someone, you still have to have a moral compass. And I believe I have a very good moral compass to offer the residents.
Super important. And then again, this is Sean Reed. He's running for City of Stuart Commission, District 4. You need to qualify yet. That was something that the city,
Yeah.
I'm watching their website all the time. They're like, well, we don't put their names on until they're qualified. So the part of
Yes.
that is getting your petition signed.
Yes, that is true. I think so. This is all new to me because I'm not a politician and I'm kind of winging it here and there and learning as I go. So you have to file a DS-84 with the city clerk, and I did file that. So I have the bank account open. We can start taking donations, but qualifying in the city of Stuart is June 10th to June 14th. It's a little bit different than the county, so you can't turn in your full candidate packet yet, and that's why we don't see it on the city website. So I would imagine you have to call the city clerk and find out if anybody has filed, or
You do.
like what I did and announce it early and see what happens.
What has been the feedback you've received so far?
So far, it hasn't been negative per se. Like I said, it's people that are saying, what's one person going to do? Obviously, I'm one person. I can't change everything. If I could, we wouldn't be in this problem that we're in now. But if we have other people that have the same vision as I do and the residents do to keep the city how it should be with smart development, we wouldn't be in this situation. And I think we'll see great things happen then if I do get in there, at least for 4 years I have. Whether or not I get another term, whether or not I decide to run, I can say I gave it a good 4 years and we gave it our all.
One of the biggest issues facing residents today, and not just here in the city of Stuart, but statewide, is cost of living, affordable housing. Do you have any ideas or thoughts on that for residents?
It's expensive. I've heard multiple things from other people that I've talked to. Some people are told just to leave town. I don't think that's a solution. I mean, if you're born here or you move here, you should be able to live here. You should be able to find a career and a job and raise your family. I mean, that's what people want. We've had high property taxes. We've had insurance is through the roof. If you talk to anybody that has an older house, their insurance is unaffordable. Sometimes it might even be more than your mortgage at this point, which blows my mind.
Right.
It's sickening.
It is.
What's happened.
There's a lot of issues, and a lot of those and the insurance you speak about, city can't do anything about that. So.
Correct. That's more a state level. Maybe our governor, I don't know how that all operates when it comes to politics, but maybe they can do more for us and the residents because they're hurting right now. And most people are living paycheck to paycheck, and we see it firsthand at the schools. You know, some parents can't afford shoes for their children.
Speaking of affordable housing, probably a year or two ago, there was a project by Haney Creek where they were going to put in, I think it was a nonprofit was going to try and put in some affordable housing. It was voted down at the time, but there is a section of property out there that's a little interesting in Haney Creek that's commercial where, honestly, I think there was restaurants that were looking to build there as well. It's on US 1.
By the billboard?
Yes.
Yeah, I it's funny you bring that up. So last year, I remember that meeting. That was for the Haney Creek, and I believe they entered into some agreement to put another car wash there potentially. And
another car wash.
Yeah, another car wash. It's like, do we not have enough? And you know, we even see the city pushing to be water conservative, right?
Right.
How can you approve a car wash when you're trying to conserve water? They plant more plants, they pull them out, they have reclaimed water. Why approve a car wash? We don't need another one, especially if you are trying to push on the residents to save water. Why not the business owner then? That's my view.
It's a good point, and there are a lot of car washes that are coming in. It's a very interesting business. I have my own thoughts on that. I think it's a lot of. I came from Michigan, so I can say there's a lot of transplants here. And up north, we have a lot of car washes because we have salt in the winter, and you need them all the time for the car. And you come down here, and there wasn't a lot of car washes, and all of a sudden there's a bunch, and I don't know.
It's astonishing. I mean, I can say personally, I've probably washed my truck in 6 years of ownership 3 times.
Mike Neal's tuning in. I appreciate a very good question, and one I should have brought up. What are your thoughts on the Brightline station and the possibility of it being partially funded by taxpayers?
Don't think it should be in downtown Stuart. We can't handle what we have personally. I know the residents at this point, yes, Brightline's coming through. They'd like to have a station. But if we put it right there in downtown, I think it's just going to make things worse as far as traffic.
So you're for the Fort Pierce location.
Somewhere else besides here.
What about the bridge? I know that the city's trying to help get some government grants for that. Where do you stand on the bridge funding issues for Brightline?
Well, it's tough. What's it going to cost taxpayers? I think taxes are high enough. It's extreme. Brightline was supposed to pay for it, and I believe they reneged on that. We need stronger leaders that can stand up to it. If we can stand up to them for the residents, why not do it?
And speaking of that, that's a private company, and I've always said that too. They're a private company. They should foot the bill themselves and not put it on taxpayers. So, here they are, and initially they said they were 100% privately funded, which, of course, here we are a decade later, and they're anything but. So,
absolutely.
We've got just a minute left here, Sean. So is there anything else you want to let potential voters know about you or how to support you?
So I would say follow the Facebook. It's Facebook.com/Read for Stuart. I would say we need a candidate that's willing to stand up for the residents and say no to the developers. They seem to get what they want. When you are up there, you're not anybody's friend. You're here for the residents, not the developers. And there's a lot of special interest stuff that has been approved, and it really shouldn't have been approved. And hopefully I can be that person to say no to people within reason, right? You can't just say no because you want to. It has to be smart growth. There's variances and projects that come before us, and you have to be reasonable, and what's been happening is not reasonable in the city.
So again, this is Sean Reed. He's running for Stuart City Commission, Group 4. And, if you support him, make sure that you're registered to vote and make sure that you reach out to him to support him, because it really takes a village and a lot of people coming together to support candidates and get them across the line. So, Sean, I appreciate you coming into the studio today. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and I wish you well on